Because I was asking you, because I wasn't really surprised with my, you know, he always comes rolling in, he shows up during the, he didn't. Believe me, I was in the, I would have been $1,000 if we next week, we had a meeting to leave the Saturday, Friday store, because everybody, and as soon as, and my mother's looked at it soon, she's like, it didn't look good in Zoom, but that's Zoom.
Hi, how are you?
Well, it's our last service together. Oh, 10 years, I can't believe it. Yeah. It's been such an honor. And I know I'll see you again, but I just want you to know it's been a real honor.
All right, so do you have any questions? All right, we're going to try that one more time. Okay.
Ready to start? There are prayer books back there.
Where's my table?
Where's your prayer book?
Here, I brought it. Where is it? Where did it? I didn't leave it in the car. I brought it with me.
I have another one.
Did we put it down there perhaps,
Uh,
Grammy?
I have another one. I have another one for you.
Yeah, that one's mine. Grammy, is there papers on that? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All set?
Yep.
Cool. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Today is the second Shabbat in the Hebrew month of Tammuz, and it is also, as you probably already know, the Shabbat on which we call Bev Gam to the Torah as a Bat Mitzvah. Bev, we're thrilled to share today with you and with your family. Well, we're glad to be here together, and also through the miracles of the internet, we welcome all of you who are watching through the live stream, and apparently some of you who are talking through the live stream. I don't know how that works, but we'll figure that sound out in a little while. In the meantime, we will concentrate our own spiritual attention and energy and ignore that sound, whatever it is. Our worship begins in the blue prayer book on page 74 with the singing of Matovu.
Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha עניני באמת אישך, מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהלך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, משכנותיך
So I apologize, I neglected to announce, those of you who have reading parts during the service or aliyot who are sitting in the congregation, you'll come to this brown lectern right here when it's your turn. And now we turn to page 75 and call on Carol Gom.
May the one whose spirit is with us in every righteous deed be with all who work for the good of humanity and beat the burdens of others, and who give bread to the hungry, who clothe the naked, and take the friendless into their homes. May the work of their hands endure, and may the seed they sow bring abundant harvest.
Now we're going to continue on page 86. And if you wouldn't mind just checking your cell phone to make sure you didn't leave your radio or your audio book playing, then maybe we'll take care of that distracting sound. So we turn to page 86 and call on Dahlia Gom.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. O Adonai our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants and descendants of all your people Israel, may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. We continue on page 99 and call on Jan and Steve Schiffman.
I will extol you, my God and sovereign, and bless your name forever and ever.
Every day will I bless you and praise your name forever and ever.
Great is Adonai and much acclaimed. God's greatness cannot be fathomed.
One generation shall laud your wondrous works to another and declare your mighty acts.
The glorious majesty of your splendor and your wondrous acts will I recite.
They shall talk of the mighty act of the awesome deeds, and I will record your greatness.
They shall celebrate your abundant goodness and sing joyously of your benevolence.
Adonai is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and abounding in kindness.
Adonai is good to all, and God's mercy is upon all God's works.
All your works shall praise you, Adonai, and your faithful shall bless you.
They shall talk of the majesty of your sovereignty and speak of your might.
To make God's mighty acts known among mortals and the majestic glory of sovereign.
Your sovereignty is eternal. Your dominion is for all generations.
Adonai supports all who stumble and makes all who are benevolent stand straight.
The eyes of all look to you expectantly, and you give them your food when it is due.
You give it open-handedly, feeding every creature to its heart content.
Adonai is beneficent in all ways and faithful in all works.
Adonai is near to all who call and to all who call upon God with sincerity.
Adonai fulfills the wishes of those who fear God. Adonai hears their cry and delivers them.
Adonai watches over all who love God, but all the wicked God will destroy.
My mouth shall utter the praise of Adonai, and all creatures shall bless God's holy name forever and ever.
We shall bless you, God, now and forever. Hallelujah.
Page 106.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה,
Amen.
ילמד יברח רותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביונכון, וחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו
Amen.
יש לרב דבריו, לעולם לעלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרבה ונעשה, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמי דקדשה לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה, ואמרו
Amen.
יאי לי
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alea b'rachamim, uftuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chokhma asita, Mala haaretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach maaseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita, yefaruch sela, or chadash al Tzion ta'ir, v'nizkeh kulanu mehira l'oro, Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears, whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy.
gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love.
Baruch atah Adonai,
הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם יהוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושמרתם לבבך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובמלאכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם מאוד על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen.
Page 120. For us, this eternal teaching is true and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good and beautiful. The God of the universe is truly our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. God endures through all generations. God's name persists. God's throne is firm. God's sovereignty and faithfulness last forever. God's words live and endure, faithful and precious for eternity.
From Egypt you redeemed us, freeing us from bondage. For that your beloved saints praise, exalting you. Your dear ones offered hymns, songs, praise, blessing, and thanksgiving to you as sovereign, the living and enduring God, high and exalted, great and awesome. God ever humbles the proud, raises the lowly, frees the imprisoned, redeems the afflicted, helps the oppressed, answering our people when we cry out. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. In great joy, Moses, Miriam, and Israel responded with song to you, all of them proclaiming. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אליי, נורא תהילות אוסף אליי, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. שירה חדשה שמחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והניחו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. כמוך נדר הקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר הקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם, נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, עובדי קדומך יהודה וישראל, גואלינו אדוני צבאות שלו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני בעל ישראל.
We continue now on page 126 with the tefillah, page 126. Let us rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora Elyon כל מלך חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה הכל קרב להושיע מורי אתה מחכה חיים וחסד מחיה הכל רחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בגבורות ומי דומה לך מלך מביט ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה בחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מלכי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שהקדישים אותו בשם אהרון וכתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה וזה ואמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו אדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני מפה אחד אלוהינו ואבינו ומלכנו ומושיענו ולא ישמיענו לרחמיו לעיני כל חי אני אדוני אלוהיכם ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי מציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש נשיבך אלוהינו במלכותך שומר שבת. וקורא עונג ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. מקדשי מקדשי שלי כולם ישמעו ויתענגו מטובך ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. וקורא עונג ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו חמדת ימים אותו קראת זכר למעשה בראשית. ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. וקורא עונג ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומר שבת. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו רצה במנוחתנו הקשינו במצוותיך
ותן חלקנו בתורתך
צווינו מטובך
ושמחנו בישועתך
וטהר ליבנו
לעבדך באמת.
והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון
שבת קודשך
וינוחו בה ישראל
מקודשי שמך.
ברוך אתה אדוני
Shalom.
מקדיש השבת.
Amen. Find favor, Adonai, our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer in love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your Spirit upon us. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato leTzion.
We
Acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever.
You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you.
For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. חן וחסד ורחמים. חן וחסד, חן וחסד ורחמים. ורחמים. שים שלום. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shalom, tova, uvracha. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha.
We pause for a few moments of private prayer.
Shalom, bimrod yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimrod yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav yaseh shalom aleinu Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael
Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the
One
strange.
second, let me announce the page. We're going to continue on page 245. That way you'll know what she's reading. Page 245 as we continue with Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for the reading of Torah.
Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children, who do not know it, hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God.
Yerushalayim. Moshe kibel Torah Sinai. So the Mishnah teaches us that Moses received Torah at Sinai. And then he went on to Joshua, and Joshua in turn gave it to the judges, and the judges brought it to the prophets, and the prophets preached it to the elders. And so it was transmitted down from generation to generation as a precious heritage, from master to disciple, from teacher to student, from parents to children. And so today, we add yet one more link in that ongoing chain of tradition.
This scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, L'amo Yisrael, B'kidushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachtav.
Lecha Adonai Adonu,
Adoro, Adiferet,
Kol hashamayim u'va'aretz,
Tichol hashamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai olam la'amo, Yamim na'aseh, lechol eron.
This week's Torah portion is called Chukat and is taken from the book of Numbers. We're going to be reading towards the end of the portion. Chapter 21, verse 17 is where we'll begin. And if you happen to be near a copy of the Red Torah commentary and would like to follow along in the Torah reading, we're on page 1162, 1162, verse 17 of chapter 21. We pick up the story as the Israelites are journeying through the wilderness, and they approach the edge of the kingdom of the Amorites, and they send a message to King Sihon of the Amorites, and they say, this is what we would like to do. We would like to pass through your land. We'll stay on the highway. We won't go off to the right or the left. We won't drink any water. We won't eat any food. And if any of our animals drink water, we'll pay you for it. We just want to pass through. And so the king very generously and magnanimously said, no way, Jose. Or maybe he said, no way, Moses. Anyway, so he came out and to engage the Israelites in battle, which turned out to be one of the greater mistakes of his career as king. The Israelites routed them, took the entire territory of the Amorites, and then at the end of the portion, we'll see that the same thing happened to King Og of Bashan, who also decided rather than to let the Israelites pass through peacefully, to engage them in battle, and it turned out badly for him as well. So we're on page 1162, chapter 21 of Numbers, starting with verse 17. For the first Aliyah, we call for the reading of the Torah our Director of Congregational Learning, Lori Sagarin, and for the first Aliyah, Bev's grandparents, Claudia and Carrie Katz-Nelson. Ta'amod l'kriyat Torah le'abatya bat Micha l'Sara, Ya'amod Kalman ban Yaakov v'Rachel, Ta'amod Tzvi le'a bat Chaim v'Keila, Aliyah Rishona.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu matorato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
אז ישיר ישראל את השירה הזאת על אלי באר אנו לה. באר חפרוה, שרים קרוה, נדיבי העם במחוקך ומשענותם וממדבר מתנה. וממתנה נחליאל ומנחליאל במות. ומבמות הגיא אשר בשדה מואב, ראש הפסגה ונשקפה על פני הישימון.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shkoch. So the second Aliyah we call Halima Vine, Bev's TBI mentor. Tamod Hodacha Shabbat Meir Uvasha Aliyah Shniya.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'tan lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayishlach Yisrael Malachim El Sichon Melech HaEmori Lemor Emora b'artzecha Lo nite b'sadeh u'b'cherem Lo nishte me'be'er Be'erech HaMelech Nelech Ad asher na'avor gvulecha ולא נתן סיחון את ישראל עבור בגבולו, ויאסוף סיחון את כל עמו, ויצא לקראת ישראל המדברה, ויבוא יחצה, ויילחם בישראל.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For the third Aliyah, we call remotely family friends Rachel and Eddie Winthrop. Yamod Yehuda David Ben Shimon v'Sonia Malka Tamod Rachel Talia Bat Yishayu Velvu v'Sara Eta Aliyah Shlishit.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayakeu Yisrael lefi charev vayirash et artzo me'arnon ad yabok ad bnei Amon ki az gevul bnei Amon. Vayikach Yisrael et kol ha'arim ha'ela vayeshev Yisrael b'chol arei ha'amori b'cheshbon ובכל בנותיה, כי חשבון עיר סיחון מלך האמורי, והוא נלחם במלך מואב הראשון, ויקח את כל ארצו מידו עד ארנון.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For the fourth Aliyah, we call family friends Lisa and Yoni Sapir. Yamod Yona Ari ben Ephraim v'Gittel, Tamod Leah Naomi bat Yisrael Yehudit, Aliyah Rivit. Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Al ken yomru hamoshlim bo cheshbon, hibanei v'titkonen ir sichon, ki esh yatsa micheshbon ve'ava mikiryat sichon, achla ar Moav ba'alei bamot Arnon, oelecha Moav עברת כמוש, נתן בניו פליטים ובנותיו בשביעית למלך אמורי סיחון, ונירם עבד חשבון עד דיבון, ונשים עד נופח אשר עד מדבר.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For the fifth Aliyah, we call Bev's sister Sydney Katz-Nelson. Tamod Baruch Rachel Bat Simcha Michael V'Leah Aliyah Chamishit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayeshev Yisrael be'eretz ha'amori, vayishlach Moshe l'ragel et Yazer, vayilkedu b'noteha, vayirash et ha'amori asher sham, vayifnu v'yalu derech habashan, vayitze Og melech habashan nikratam, ובכל עמו למלחמה אדרעי.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For the sixth Aliyah, we call Wendy and Scott Katz-Nelson. Yamod Simcha Michael ben Kalman v'Tzvi Alea, Tamod Sima Sara bat Seidel B'Tzalel Uvatya Aliyah Shishit.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe al tira oto, ki beyadcha natati oto et kol amo v'et ארצו, ועשית לו כאשר עשית לסיחון מלך האמורי, אשר יושב בחשבון, ויכו אותו ואת בניו ואת כל עמו, עד בלתי השאיר לו שריד, וירשו את ארצו, וייסעו בני ישראל, ויחנו בערבות מואב, מעבר לירדן יריחו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. In the midst of our joy of celebrating this Shabbat and celebrating with Bev and her family and of learning from Torah, we take a moment now to acknowledge our awareness that there are some whose joy and whose celebration is diminished due to illness. You'll be able to find the prayer in the prayer book on page 253. We mentioned particularly Sheldon Cohn, Wayne Silverman, Carrie Bellows, Andrew Bider, Esther Mendelson, Ronald James Sullivan, Dennis Gelbart, Seema Tolchinsky, Karen Zandy, Michael Ben Mindel, Sandy Rubin, Diana Binder, Elise Langenfield, Asher Gedalia Ben Malka, Shelley Stone, Sheila Lambie, Elena Klein Angus, Ilana Miriam Batchava, Fred Siegel, Elaine Morgan, Tracy Kite, Naum Ligum, Jim Bernstein, Eliezer Shlomo Ben Shindel, Rabbi Herbert Braunstein, Laura Ifmar, Ronald Silverman, Carol Harbert, Rena Batshena, Joel Greenblatt. We think of them and others of whom we know who are in need of healing, whether healing of body or healing of spirit, and we pray they will soon know a refuah shlema.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Throughout the course of the year, on most Shabbatot, we read a maftir, a concluding section of the Torah that is the end of that week's Torah portion. But there are certain occasions that are special days of the year or holidays or just special celebrations where we read a special maftir. And today, being Bev's bat mitzvah, we're going to read a special maftir, which just happens to be the maftir she would have read on the original date when her bat mitzvah was scheduled. So we're going to be reading the maftir of Parshat Bamidbar, and if you're following along in the Torah commentary, we'll be on page 1043, chapter 4 of the book of Numbers, starting with verse 17. And for the maftir, we call the bat mitzvah Beverly Rose Gam. Tamod hamaftir Rachel bat Ze'ev Sima Sarah bat mitzvah.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai hamorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai Notain HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor. Al taritu et shevet mishpichot hakati mitoch ha'ri'im. V'zot asu lahem. V'hayu v'lo yamutu. Begishtam et kodesh hakodeshim. Aharon uvnav yavo'u v'samu hotam. Ish al avodato ve'el masa'o ve'lo yavo'u lir'ot kavala et hakodesh v'metu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayim Olam nitav v'dochenu Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Uyevarech et Abachura Rachel bat Ze'ev v'Sima Sarah bat Mitzvah Asher alta l'Torah hayom HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmerea v'yatzilea mikol tzara v'tzukah u'mikol nega u'machala v'yishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadea וישם בליבה אהבתו ויראתו ולעשות רצונו ולעובדו בלבב שלם כל הימים ונאמר אמן. מזל טוב.
מזל טוב.
שמן טוב ומזל טוב ומזל טוב ושמן טוב. שמן טוב ומזל טוב ומזל טוב ושמן טוב. שמן טוב ומזל טוב ומזל טוב ושמן טוב. יהי לנו. יהי לנו. יהי לנו. כל ישראל. 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 Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Let's all stand. We turn now to the reading of the Haftorah portion, which is the Haftorah taken, that corresponds to Parshat Bamidbar, Bab's portion. It's taken from the writing of the prophet Hosea, and if you'd like to follow along, you'll find that on page 1252. We're going to be reading the first three and the last three verses of the Haftorah portion, wherein the prophet, picking up on the theme of the book of Numbers, where God commands Moses and Aaron to take a census of the people, and the prophet compares the number of the Israelites to the number of grains of sand on the seashore.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sor kol haolamim Sadik b'chol hadarod Ha'el ha'ne'eman Ha'omer ve'osei Hamdaber u'mekayem Shekol davarav emet. Wrong prayer, sorry. Yeah. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'mvi'im tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch Ata Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'haya mispar b'nei Israel kechol hayam asher lo yimad v'lo yisafer v'haya bimkom asher ye'amer lahem lo ami atem imru la'achehem amim v'la'ach v'nikbetzu B'nei Yehuda uvnei Israel yachdav v'samu lahem rosh echad v'alu min ha'aretz ki gadol yom Yisrael imru la'achehem amim v'la'achotechem ruchama v'charati lahem berit bayom hahu im hayat hasadeh v'im ov hashemayim V'remes ha'adema v'keshet v'cherev u'milpaman eshpor min ha'aretz v'hishkavtim lavetach v'erastif li le'olam v'erastif li b'tzedek u'v'mishpat u'v'chesed u'v'rachamim v'erastif li b'emunah v'yadat et Adonai. Now this prayer. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sor kol haolamim Sadik b'chol hadarod Ha'el ha'ne'eman Ha'omer ve'osei Hamdaber u'mekayem Shekol davarav emet v'tzedek Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, lechavod u'letifaret. Al hakol, Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umvarchim otach, yitbarach shimha befi kol hai, tamid leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai, mekadesh hashabat. Amen. I screwed up.
You didn't take that. You did. You did awesome. You did awesome. Okay. I screwed up at that part. Okay.
Hello.
Hey. Good job. When I first learned that one of the things about becoming a bat mitzvah was freeing your mom and I from bearing the responsibility of your actions, I was so relieved.
Wow.
You have fully embraced taking accountability for your own actions, and I, for one, am so proud of you after seeing everything you have done. One obligation of becoming a bat mitzvah is performing mitzvot. Not only have you done that with your bat mitzvah project, but you do it nearly every day. I am so impressed with your passion for helping people in general, but specifically how you have increased our awareness about food insecurity and also brought a community together to donate items to the Niles Township Food Pantry. Since I have known you, I have always seen in your actions how caring you are and how passionate you are about making sure that people do the right things and act kindly to one another. These are some of the qualities in a person that I admire, along with being smart, funny, creative, and of course, being not too shabby at chanting Torah. I am so proud to be your stepdad. Speaking of being your stepdad, I want you to know that I will always be here for you, your mom, your sisters, and I'm grateful to be a part of this family. I am very proud of you, and I love you. Mazel tov.
It's okay. Okay. Don't ruin your makeup, Stephanie. We'll be mad. All right. It's okay. It's okay. I have been thinking about what I would say to you on this occasion, essentially since the day you were born. Truthfully, there's really no way to adequately articulate all the things I want to say to you at this moment, but I will try my best to do so in the most efficient and least cringeworthy way possible. As you know, we chose your Hebrew name, Rachel, in honor of my dear friend Rachel. And as it turns out, you possess so many of the same qualities. You are intelligent, hardworking, fun-loving, and loyal. You have a great sense of humor. You are a creative and talented cook. You are kind and silly and brave. Your passion about the issues you hold dear is inspirational. The past 15 months have been a challenge, to say the least. But through it all, you persisted. You attended Hebrew school and Sunday school and bat mitzvah tutoring virtually. You prepared and practiced for this day, and your hard work shows. And at a time when it was easy for kids to be unengaged in learning, you took Zoom school seriously and maintained good grades. This, of course, is not a surprise from a kid I used to catch staying up late, reading books by the light of only an alarm clock. Even when you were sick with COVID yourself, you insisted on logging in for your reading class because it is your favorite subject, and you wanted to complete an assessment that could impact your placement for next year. You are one tough cookie. We are so incredibly proud of you. And by we, I don't only mean the two of us standing here. I mean your grandparents too, and even your sisters. I mean your teachers who have reached out to me specifically to tell me what a pleasure it is to work with you. I mean parents who tell me how patient you are with their younger children or how responsible you are at caring for their pets. You are a good kid and an all-around awesome human being. I'm sure you're just dying to hear some sort of parental type advice from me. So here it goes. Don't forget that even though you can almost never control what happens, you can always control how you react to it. This is a lifelong struggle, even for adults, myself included. Work hard on the things you enjoy. This is important. That's why I was fixing my talus, so I'm serious.
And work harder on the things you don't enjoy, because they're equally important in keeping you well-rounded. This is why I taught you to eat your vegetables first. Try new things, gather experiences rather than possessions, stay hydrated, travel, and have fun. Finally, remember who you are. You are from this village that provides you with wonderful educational opportunities and a life surrounded by a vibrant tapestry of cultures. You are from this congregation that offers you a spiritual home and a connection to your religious heritage. You are from this little neighborhood of ours where you are blessed with a veritable army of additional mothers supporting you and looking out for your well-being. And you are from your family who looks forward to all that the future holds for you and loves you fiercely. Mazel tov.
I'm listening to you. I'm staying hydrated.
Okay.
Friends, we turn back to our prayer books now. We turn to page 256. Page 256 And as we prepare to return the Torah to the ark, let us rise. Scott, will you take the Torah?
Good job. Good job.
Okay,
You managed through it. I got my speech.
okay, Ben. You read it. Keep it easy.
Yahalelu et Shem Adonai, Kizniv Shemo Levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted. My Torah portion is called Bad Midbar and is the first portion in the book of Numbers. The book opens with Moses and Aaron being commanded by God to take a census of the people. Now, I'm not really a numbers person, but I understood what Moses and Aaron were doing by taking a census. You see, God and the Israelites needed people to do work for them. Specifically, they needed warriors in case they were attacked. God had asked Moses and Aaron to count the people. I personally interpreted the fact of their taking the census to mean that Aaron, Moses, and God saw the Israelites as numbers, not individual people, but numbers. Yes, back then censuses were important to know the population and warriors, but even then, that didn't sit right with me. We aren't just numbers, we're living, breathing human beings. The recent 2020 United States Census brought more light to how messed up it is to just be seen as a number. You see, to some government officials, influencers, and CEOs, we are all just numbers, and I began to think, how do we show that we aren't just numbers, but that we are actual human beings, being an individual? That's how you can be a person. Once you've been seen as a person, then you really count. Poverty is a great example of just being seen as a number. The cycle of poverty really starts with a child whose family suffers from food insecurities. Without proper meals, the child won't be able to succeed in school, landing the child in a bad job or even no job at all. That's where the Niles Township Food Pantry comes in. The Niles Township Food Pantry serves the people suffering from food insecurities with dignity by letting the people choose their food. By serving the people food, they are stopping the cycle of poverty for people in Niles Township. For my Bat Mitzvah project, I decided to do a canned food drive and volunteer there. If you want more information, there's a poster outside with the bin, the Noah's Ark one. I said before, once you've been seen as a person, then you really count. I feel like today I really count as a Bat Mitzvah and as an adult member of the Jewish community. I know that means I will start taking on more adult-like responsibilities and getting more adult-like privileges. One of the things I took away from studying the Torah is about not taking other people for granted. People we know and even people we don't know. Many people have helped me in my life and in preparing for today, and I do not take any of them for granted. I am very grateful and I want to thank some of them now. Mom, thank you for, giving birth to me and helping me with everything, including my Jewish education. Scott, thank you for helping me study in the chaotic car rides to pick up or drop off Sid. Sid, thank you for doing all those strange accents when helping me with my prayers and talking to me late at night. Dahlia, thank you for being supportive and chilling with me at 12 a.m. while listening to music. Grammy and Papa, thank you for bringing me to school and Hebrew school. Thank you, Grandma, for schlepping all the way out here and teaching me some things about life. Thanks to the Selig family for bringing me home from Hebrew school and letting me stay at your house countless of times. To my friends, you guys are my chosen family, and I wouldn't do anything in the world to leave you guys. So thank you for being there and listening to me rant about this whole process without even understanding the whole thing. Sherry Granite, thank you for teaching me my Haftarah and Torah portion. Helene Levine, Thank you for helping me understand my portion in a deeper sense. Rabbi Weinberg, thank you for helping me write this whole spiel. Lori Sagrin and my TBI teachers, thank you for teaching me the basics of Hebrew because I definitely wouldn't be here without your help. To Mrs. Fuller, Ms. Gabuzzi, and Ms. Schmidt, my English teachers, thank you for helping me with A, my grammar and spelling, and B, for keeping me grounded and making learning fun. And to all of you who came during the middle of the pandemic, thank you for sharing this day with me. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Mazel tov. You can relax now.
Okay, stay there. Go get
Bev, I wanted to talk to you for a couple of minutes about some of the ideas that you raised in your Devar Torah, excuse me, and I think that the prophet Hosea in your Haftorah portion has an extra little something to add to the ideas that you expressed. So you and I talked a lot about whether being counted was treating people as numbers, or whether being counted means standing up to be counted as an individual, and that means you really count. So I can tell you that for today, you really count. But I was intrigued by what you said, that the way to begin to be considered as counted is to become an individual. And the prophet Hosea, I think, adds an extra gloss on that. At the very end of the Haftorah portion, there are 3 sentences that are famous sentences. They're famous because I know them. And they are sentences that are recited by Jews each morning who put on tefillin. And when you wrap the tefillin around your finger, you recite these words, Ve'erastichli le'olam, I betrothed you to me forever. Ve'erastichli b'tzedek u'v'mishpat u'v'chesed u'v'rachamim, I betrothed you to me in justice and righteousness, in devotion and in compassion. Ve'erastichli be'emunah, I betrothed you to me in faithfulness. And in a sense, what a Jew does in putting on tefillin is bind herself or himself to God, creating a connection, a bond. And so I think that what the prophet Hosea is trying to teach us, and what our tradition is trying to emphasize, is that it's not even enough to be an individual, but you have to be an individual in connection, in community, bonded to others. I think that's what your mom was hinting at when she talked about the communities of which you are so much a part, the ones that care about you and take care of you, and the ones about which you care and about which you take care. That, I think, is the essence of what Judaism teaches us, that we don't live in a vacuum, and we don't live simply as individuals wandering around on our own, responsible for ourselves, but that we are in fact responsible for each other, that we are in fact part of a community. This community of Temple Beth Israel has had the joy and pleasure of embracing you and your family for years already. And we look forward to doing that for many more years to come. And we look forward to you not only being the one embraced, but being one of the embracers. And you will see as you progress, and probably next year come back as a machonik in order to help take care of the younger children, that you will embrace them and show them what it means to be held in relationship and in community. And that's a real gift. So it would not come as a surprise to you if I tell you that we're proud of you. But not just because what you did here today, but because who you have become. And those of us who have had the pleasure of watching you grow and mature and see how you've dealt with adversity, particularly the small problem of having to delay your bat mitzvah. You just learned today that good things are worth waiting for sometimes. So we're really thrilled to be able to share, to celebrate today with you. and to tell you that we're proud of you and we have great expectations of who you will yet become as you continue to grow and mature. And it's those words of pride and those thoughts of hope and expectation that I combine together into the ancient words of priestly blessing. I'm going to ask your parents to stand up to assist with the blessing. They'll place their hands on your head as I pronounce the words. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka. May God's light shine on you and be gracious unto you. Yisal Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face always be turned towards you, and may you always be granted peace.
Amen.
Amen. Now, don't go away because we have some gifts for you.
Where'd the paper go?
The first gift is a certificate of your bat mitzvah, which you and your parents have signed along with the leadership of the congregation. And it says, in part, in becoming a bat mitzvah, Beverly Gam has accepted the privileges and responsibilities of being a Jew. Lifelong Torah study and the keeping of mitzvot, Shabbat, holy day and life cycle observances, participation in the life of the synagogue, the Jewish community, and Israel, and dedication to Tikkun Olam, the perfection of our world. We also have for you your own copies of Mishkan HaNefesh, our holiday prayer book, one for Rosh Hashanah and one for Yom Kippur. It won't be so long, you'll be able to use them for the first time, but then you'll be able to use them every year thereafter. Our sisterhood is presenting you with a Kiddush cup that you're going to use later to help lead Kiddush. We'll just leave it there now because it's got grape juice in it.
No drinking yet.
It's engraved with your monogram and the date. And our brotherhood is presenting you with a picture frame also engraved with your name and today's date. And even before you had an opportunity to put pictures in that frame, they've put something in the frame. And that is a certificate indicating that Brotherhood has purchased a tree in Israel in your honor. And we would like to make it possible for you to go and visit your tree. So we have for you 3 gift certificates. One from the JUF, from the Jewish Federation of Metropolitan Chicago, one from NIFTY, the North American Federation of Temple Youth, a national reform movement, and one from Temple Beth Israel. Each one is a gift certificate good towards a high school summer or semester trip to Israel. So start packing. You're going to have a great time. And Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can take all those and put them down. Friends, we now turn back to our prayer books for the concluding portion of our worship. We turn to the bottom of page 282 for Aleinu. Page 282, let us rise.
שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, לתקן עולם במלכות שדי, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה
Page 295. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own, Zichronam Livracha. We call to mind those whose yahrzeits are observed on this Shabbat. Jane Levitova Adler, Ruth Lebedoff Anders, Alice Bayer, Betsy Bass, Sue Baumblatt, Isaac Bernstein, Mildred Browse, Bertha Brown, Alexandra A. Brook, Joe Cohen, Arthur Deach, Harold Epstein, Mary S. Epstein, Bessie Fischel, Phyllis Garber, Pauline Golden, Jacob Goldstein, Harry Harris, Charles Eisenstark, Esther Janish, Samuel Katz, Esther Kalish, Charlotte Kuhn, Albert Leibowitz, Herbert Levine, Esther Levy, Samuel D. Lieberman, Dr. Lawrence A. Mack, Esther Masser, Bunya V. Milstein, Mary Novelsky, Albert Niederman, Bernard L. Perlstein, Earl Reesberg, Judith Rogoff, Daniel Rovner, Samuel Rubenstein, Paul Rustin, Morton W. Samuelson, Anna Schultz, Meyer Schwartz, Hildegard Lustig Simon, George Stein, Samuel L. Stein, Dr. Maurice Tennant, Nathan V. Tucker, Beth D. Weinstein, Lillian Weiss. To these thus named, we had memories of dear ones not now mentioned by name, but cherished in their mourners' hearts, as all those who mourn now rise for Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'yomei omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalau shemei d'kudsha b'richu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata dam yaran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav v'yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
V'imru, 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 amen. V'imru, 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 amen.
Shabbat shalom. Mazal tov. We're going to conclude in just a moment our worship service by making Kiddush. At that point, I'll ask Beverly to take her Kiddush cup and Marla to take her Kiddush cup, and we will make Kiddush. And following Kiddush, I'll ask you to sit back down because we have a little presentation on the TV screen for you. And Bev and her family will go sit over on the side so they can see the TV screen as well. But first, let's all stand for Kiddush. Shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם.
ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ,
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Please be seated. And we'll give you a chance to walk over there, and then we'll start the presentation.
Cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart. Cause you're a sky full of stars. Cause you light up the park. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. Cause in the sky full of stars, I think I saw you. Sequel. Ain't ready for the latest in the garden of evil. I'm gonna be the greatest in a golden cathedral. I'll be praying for the faithless, and if you lose, boo-hoo. Hey, look, Ma, I made it. Hey, look, Ma, I made it. Everything's coming up aces, aces. If it's a dream, don't wake me, don't wake me. I said, hey, look, I made it. Just a young gun with a quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things and wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes, sir, not a follower. Fit the box, fit the mold, have a seat in the foyer. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder.
Thunder, 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 thunder,
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, thunder. I can make your hands clap. Said I can make your hands clap. Every night when the stars come out, am I the only living soul around? Need to believe you could hold me down, 'cause I'm in need of something good right now. We could be screaming